With so much software available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 15 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Techsplained with the Guest Inspector. The airlines do it, the hotels do it, and dare I say most vacation rental companies do it. Do you? Do you use dynamic pricing? For rates that can change daily based on numerous factors and distributed to numerous channels, do you really have the time not to be using dynamic pricing? Well, today I'm chatting to another company that can help you make the most dollars from your property with ease. Today I'm chatting with Andrew McConnell from Rented. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for coming along today. Now, Andrew, usually I would launch straight into it. Actually, we will launch straight into it. In one sentence, what does Rented do?
We are the pricing engine for professional vacation rental management companies.
Right. So now my next question would be, as a property manager, I'm coming to you, but I want to ask you, what did Rented do? Because when I talked to you at the VRMA about what you do, and you mentioned dynamic pricing, I was like, wait a second, that's not what you used to do. So what did you used to do, and how did you end up doing dynamic pricing?
It was a bit of a winding journey. So my original company 10 years ago was a company called Vacation Futures, and it matched owners with professional management companies. And it did it through these auctions where the managers would bid to provide guaranteed income to the owner. So the owner would say, hey, I don't want a manager to manage on commission. I don't want to take the risk. Manager, you do it. Local managers would say, I'd give you $30,000 for next year. I'll give you $32,000. And so we did that and grew very, very quickly early on, but then hit a plateau because every owner wanted that, but very few managers had the financial means to do it or the geographic dispersed nature. So we had Vacasa and V-Trips and others, but not many others. And so we said, okay, well, if all the owners want it and the managers can't do it, what if we created a fund that partnered with local managers and we did it on their behalf? So we say, homeowner, I'll give you $30,000. Then I hire the best local manager on commission and we create this wide portfolio. And so that's probably what a lot of people know Rented as, is we would fund these managers to go provide these guaranteed contracts. And we built a portfolio of several thousand properties all over the world, US, Europe, South America, Asia, all over with this product. And what we found was these best managers that were great at the guest experience, great at keeping owners happy, they weren't great at revenue management. They weren't maximizing the returns on the property. And so we said, okay, this is a function we need to build in-house. We thought it was enough to use a pricing tool, but no, you need to have somebody over top using it. And so we built a team of the best professional managers in the entire industry in our own company. And we were managing thousands and thousands of properties. And our team said, you know, these tools, we're using all the third-party tools, all the tools you know that exist already. And they said, this is better than nothing, but you know, it would be a lot better if we could do this. And you know what would help us save a ton of time is if we could do this. And if it looked like this, and kept giving us all these tips. And eventually we said, well, since we're doing it for so many properties, let's build you a better tool. And so we built it for our team. And then our clients started to see this tool and said, whoa, can I get access to this? And we thought, oh, it'd be for these size managers and everybody who sees it, because it is lightning fast. It is the easiest to use. They say, this doesn't look like anything else on the market. So that's because it's not like anything else on the market. There was nothing like this on the market, so we had to go build it. And so what we have is two things. One, we have the easiest, simplest to use, fastest, most powerful pricing tool out there. And separately, we still have an in-house team of the best rental managers, revenue managers in the business. So if you say, I want to manage this myself, you can access the tool, you do that. If you say, hey, I just want to focus on guest relations, I just want to focus on owner relations, I don't have the brain, I don't have the time, I don't have the desire to spend all this time running through the data and doing revenue management, you can work with our team to do that. And so that's another differentiator where we still manage thousands and thousands of properties for managers all over the world.
Right, right. So as a property manager, I'm coming to you. Let's say I want to do the manual. I want to do it myself. However, I always thought that this dynamic pricing business is you're going to automatically update my prices and send them out there, and I can tweak them. You know, I want this as a minimum and that as a maximum and things like that. So when I come to you, how do I get onboarded? Let's say I've got one property. Let's just talk about how do I get onboarded?
So you would pull that property in. You put it, it could be, we integrate to your property management software, or if it's listed on Airbnb, you just kind of paste the Airbnb link.
Yeah.
You pull it in, and our system pulls in all the data on your property, all the old bookings on the property, the bedrooms, the baths, the location, the amenities. And what it says is, in this market, here's what the seasonality looks like. You know, regardless of kind of what the price is, here's how it shapes over the course of the year. Now, your property, based on its size, its location, its bedrooms and bathrooms, its amenities, here's where its average rate would be. And so here's how it would fluctuate over the next couple of years. So that sets you at a starting place. And then you can go over top of that and say, well, my minimum stays, it's 4 nights, except on weekends, it's 5 nights. And my minimum rate is this, except for holidays, then my minimum rate is this. And so then you can start putting those different pieces on. There is a piece that we have that is another differentiator no one else has, is we have the automated rate tool that does that, and it sets all the rates, and in real time, as bookings come in, as rates change, it changes those rates for you to make you constantly up to date. But separately, we have what we call our revenue management tool. So not everybody is yet comfortable with saying, I trust a machine to change my rates all the time. And so we have the option to just use the interface, just use the product with all the tweaks and the tape chart and all the power and all the data that you have right in front of you to still manage your price how you want to do it. And so we have clients that say, hey, we're not ready for dynamic pricing, but this is so much easier to price in than my PMS. That I want to use this because I make so much more money when I do it this way. And granted, a lot of people start that way, and then they say, well, let me try some of this dynamic. And they say, okay, this works.
Right. So it's like dipping your toe in, actually seeing what the rates are that you are suggesting. And then we sort of test it out. And when we see, hey, this works, then we dive in.
Right.
That's exactly right. Okay, great. That sounds good. Now, you did mention something. Okay, so the thing is, when someone is doing it manually, you do actually suggest you should be charging it at this. So this is where someone's going to think, meh, is that too much? Am I not going to get a booking? A manager will always see what you are recommending, even when we're doing it manually.
Yes, so you can export data from it anytime. You can have, here's the exported recommended rate, here's the exported your overridden rate. What we also have is, when you look at the tape chart, it's color coded. So if it's blue with a lightning bolt, this is, you haven't overridden the rate. It is just the rate that we are pushing. If you've changed the rate a little bit, it'll be green. It's within 10% of where we said. If it's more than 10 to 25, okay, well, now it's getting yellow. You're really very different, high or low, than we would recommend. And then when you go outside of that, it's red. It's saying, wow, you're really going far off of what we'd recommend. You might want to double check that.
Well, that sounds like a good UX then, good user experience.
It is the thing that people just say, whoa, you know, even the third-party tools is like, man, this is really sharp. You know, this is good. Yeah,
because, you know, I think dynamic pricing, it all sounds a little bit daunting. I mean, like, I had 5 properties. I actually just calculated before we started. 5 properties at 365 days a year, nights a year. That's nearly 2,000 nights that I'm going to be changing and thinking about price rates, rates. So, you know, obviously with a property manager with a lot more, it's a little daunting. So, I mean,
we have clients with thousands, right? And so trying to manage that.
Yeah. And you also said that it updates automatically, like the prices change automatically based on demand. So it's not like once a day, it just refreshes.
Correct. Yeah. So when it can push rates up to every 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
as changes come in, it'll change. Now the big updates based on changes in occupancy, changes in your comparative market
Mm,
on where those rates are going,
mm,
that would happen each night and say, okay, here we're going to refresh that.
mm,
But if you're doing any tweaks, then every 15 minutes it will be pushing refreshed data and refreshed prices out to your system.
mm. And one question I don't think I asked any of the other dynamic pricing companies that I interviewed. Let's say I have a property with a pool and a sauna and a
Mhm.
brilliant view. So there's really standout amenities. How do you take that into account when you're doing the nightly rate? Some really outstanding amenities. How is that weighted in terms of the rates that you're proposing?
Yeah, so how that is part of what gets ingested to make the recommended rate to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at again the curve for your market on here's how the seasons change, and then we say how high or low you should be in that based on beds, baths, and the amenities. So
Mm-hmm.
is it waterfront with a hot tub? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be worth more than not waterfront without a hot tub. And
Mm.
so it moves that up. Now, we also make it very, very easy to then go in and adjust and say, okay, well, yeah, but I think the holidays really should be a little bit higher. So let me move this. It shouldn't be an average rate of 450. I think it
Mm.
should be 475. And so
Mm.
we make it very easy to see that. And as you change it, again, this is all part of the interface. You can see here's where it was. Now, when
Mm.
I made the change, here are all the rates that it
Mm-hmm.
now looks at. So you can see how it changes from one to the other to
Mm-hmm.
compare, does this look better than it was before?
Mm-hmm. And on the dashboard, can I actually see what my competitors are charging as well? Do I see where I fit in terms of the competitors around me?
Yeah, so this instead of having to jump to a whole bunch of screens, we fold everything into one screen. So not only that, so you'll see your recommended rates, how high or low you are
Mm.
off of where we would recommend based
Mm-hmm.
on what you put in. And then if you hover over, it'll show you, oh, here's where the market is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's its occupancy. Here's where its average rates are. Here's historically what you booked for last year, how many days out you booked for, what the average rate was for that. Was it a owner hold or was it an actual booking?
Mm.
This year, if you have a booking, here's what it's actually booked for this year. Here's when it booked. Here's how many. So all of that's right there in a single screen. So you're not having to jump around. Because again, our team trying to manage thousands of properties said this takes a ton of time to have to jump from this system to this system or this page to this page. Said, well, we can fix that.
Mm.
Just put it right there where you can see it when you need it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's great to solve a problem that you have. That's great.
Exactly.
Now, also, I believe you can add discounts closer to the time of check-in if the dates are free.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
that's a manual thing, or that's an automatic thing that we set.
Yeah, so you can do it. There are many levels you can do this at. So you can do it when you pull a property in and say, okay, every time within 15 days, I want to discount by 10%, starting 10 days, or I want to do 10% and I want it to be gradual. So every day it'll be a fraction of a percent more that'll come down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing you can do at individual property level, and then it will do that every time. Or we have groups. So you could say, hey, I'm going to have this group of all my 3 and 4 bedroom properties. And here are the settings for them because they're different than my 1 and 2 bedroom properties. And on my 3 and 4 bedroom properties, I want 15 days out to start to discount. Whereas my 1 bedrooms, they only book 2 nights out anyway. So I'm not going to put a discount on those. And so instead of having to do it property by property, you can do it by group. And then if you get a new property, all you have to do is import them to that group and it inherits all those settings. You don't have to go reset them.
Mm-hmm. So that group is like a tag. This place is
well,
tagged.
We have tags.
Yeah.
So their tags are separate. So you set tags. So you could have pool, pet friendly, all these, and then you can filter by those tags and do settings on that. A group is it could only be in a single group, whereas you could have infinite tags. And in that group, you say inherit all the settings of this group, and then I can still override the individual property, but then I could pull it out. So let me give an example use case. They say every property I have, our base is it's a 2-night minimum stay with 3 nights on the weekends. We're going to discount by this much 30 days out, et cetera, et cetera. You can have a group of base. And so every new property you bring in, you put in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take it out of that group and it keeps all those settings. And you say, but my 4 bedrooms are slightly different. Now let me pull it in that group and it will override just those things that are different from that group. And so groups are different than tags, because the tag you would keep on the property and then you can use it for filtering and setting and bulk editing. But those groups are really powerful in terms of pushing settings across.
Yeah, great. Now, this might be a silly question, but obviously if I have a nightly rate, I can say this one going to Airbnb at 15%, this one going to booking.com at 18%. I can do that with my rates, right?
You do that in the PMS. So we wouldn't do that from us, because all we do is push your rates into your PMS.
Right.
And then your PMS would push out any kind of premiums discounts that you might have separate to channels.
Right. Okay. Now, what or who is Art?
Art, kind of 2 answers there. So Art is our automated rate tool. So ART. Art was also my grandfather.
Oh.
And he passed away during COVID while we were building this and taking it to market. So he was always a role model of mine, and the ability to have something that was a namesake for him and meant a lot, that also meant something here. The automated rate tool of Rented is Art. And
that's lovely.
It's a personality, right? It's not just this system. We always talk about it's the person plus the machine. So the analogy I always go back to is with chess, no computer could ever beat a human. Over and over in history, no computer could beat the best humans. And then Big Blue comes in and beats Kasparov. And now the best humans in the world can't beat the best machines. It's impossible. But Kasparov didn't give up. Kasparov created what we call Centaur chess. And it's teams of humans using the analysis of computers. And no computers have been able to beat these Centaur teams. So use the computers for what they're best at, which is crunching tons of data, and then use the humans for what they're best at still, which is the strategy, which is the oversight, which is the implementation. And that's really where Rented stands apart, because we have the humans that are using the technology. So we're constantly getting that technology better and better, but we're putting it at the fingertips of any manager who says, hey, I want a more efficient way to make my owners and my company a lot more money.
That's great. Now, so let's get back to that, the automated service that you offer. So I come to you, I've got my properties connected to you. I don't have to do anything. Your staff are going to check the data, change the rates, and make all the decisions to get the maximum dollar out of my property for me. And I don't have to do anything, correct?
Let me clarify. That's on the full service. So if you want the full service, if you're just buying the tool, you're doing that. If you say no, and you can still be involved, like we'd want you to weigh in on, hey, we pull everything in and we say, here's what we would recommend. Here's the strategy we would approach. Here's the minimum rates. Here's the min stays. But you may say, that's fine, but I have this owner who's never going to rent it for less than $350 a night, who's never going to allow less than a 3-night stay, et cetera. And so we take all that into account and put that on.
But you run it.
Then our team runs it and then just reports back the results to you.
Yeah, that's great. Now, does Rented have a unique selling point?
I think we have several. One is we are the largest revenue manager in the industry, right? We're managing more properties globally than any other manager. So we are the power users of our product that is constantly making it better and better, seeing, hey, here's a way to make it faster. One example, new feature we launched just before VRMA is our notifications feature. So our team would say, hey, what's taking you a lot of time? Well, I have to go check, where did rates move a lot? Where did bookings come in? Where did bookings for my competitors come in, but not for me? All of these things. And we said, well, this is all data we have. So now when you log in, there's an alert. It says, hey, this property, all the properties around it booked and yours didn't for these dates. You click it, it jumps you to those dates, and you can just override and adjust to say, hey, I'm going to now discount it 15% because I want to get my property booked too. And all of that's right there. So you don't have to find the property or the dates. The answers are there. You click and it takes you right there to where you need to do the work. So our team doing it, no one else is out there doing anything like that. And then as a result, I think the product is night and day different, because when you look at and you use it, it's just unlike any other product out there. It's just the single tape chart. I can see all the days. I have everything I need at my fingertips in front of me to execute, because you know what? I have a lot of other things I need to do during the day. If I can do this more efficiently, I'm better at my job.
Yeah. Now, I always think, man, maybe this is a silly question, but why would I use your product? What are the benefits?
Yeah. So two sides, right? One is I don't want to do this myself. We're the only ones that say, okay, great, we'll go do this for you. Come to us, we'll take care of it. That would be answer number one. Number two is I do want to do this myself, but I don't want to spend unnecessary time doing it. I want to be as powerful, as efficient, as effective as possible. Well, then there's really only one answer, and that's art, because that is the tool built for you.
Great. Now, I suppose there's no need for white labeling because the guests never see it. So who is your target audience? What sort of size property manager?
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the white labeling, because we have had PMSs ask us to white label it because the tape chart is so good. They say, this is much better than our tape chart. Could we use this tape chart as ours?
Okay.
So there's a different kind of white labeling in discussion. But who's the target? We built it, we thought, for kind of the 10 to 100 unit listing property manager. And then we constantly get surprised because we go to these conferences and much larger managers say, no, I need this. Like, if it's so much faster and easier for the 10 to 100 listing manager, think about how much it saves me when I have 500 properties to manage, when I have 1,000 properties to manage. So in transparency, it's built for that 10 to 100. But we find a lot of others come our way, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Yeah. And where is your target audience? Given that you're pulling data, is your audience global?
It is, yeah. So we pull global data. You can pull a property in Kathmandu, and it'd be the same for us as pulling it in Calabasas, California, right? We have the data to do it. We don't have on the ground sales team in a lot of these markets, and so our proactive marketing is less strong there, but we're just as effective in any of these markets.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that you're offering a lot of services, but how does the costing work? Is it a monthly fee? Is it a subscription, 1 year annual fee?
Yeah. So we are very big on test us, don't trust us. And our number one value is better for all. We only want to work with people when we are better for them than what we're costing. And so we do a month-to-month subscription. So you don't lock into a year-long contract. You don't owe us a set amount of money. You just pay as, is it working or not? Great, keep paying. If it's not, then stop paying. Go somewhere else.
Right.
And so it can get down, depending how many properties you have, as little as $10 a month for each listing on the automated side. And then depending how many properties you have, there's an added cost for that white label service where it's not white label, white glove service, where our team is doing the work on top of the tool.
Yes. So it's per month, per property.
Correct.
And no lock-in contract.
No.
Lovely. Very good. Okay. Well, that was my last question, actually, about the contract. That was my last question. Was there anything that we haven't covered, actually? Anything else you want to add about what you're offering?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is anybody for free can go in and play with the tool and see what they think. So even if you're not ready to hook it up to your PMS, you can take any random Airbnb listing, paste it in, and it'll pull the property in and have the prices for 2 years, and you can play with all the features. You can see what art can do. And if you are interested, then certainly reach out, and we would love to get you onboarded and run it for a test run.
Lovely. Well, I will put the links in the description below. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. That was really great to hear what Rented is doing now. I had no idea.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Thank you. Pleasure. See you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you'd like to catch up on the ones you've missed, just head to the techsplainedseries.com. That's for the longer interviews. But if you don't have time, you can always catch the short ones, the Tech Minis. Just head to thetechminis.com for extra short interviews. See you next time.